Hello, all my Facebookers and YouTubers. It's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, once again making a video out of Boise, Idaho. Today, we're working on our BCS 715 Italian-made rototiller, or AKA walk-behind tractor. Today, we're going to be taking apart the carburetor and getting it ready for a rebuild and cleaning it. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. Now, in a normal shop that has overhead and bills to pay, I completely understand the need to just replace one of these. But the reality of it is, if you know how to do it, you can take these apart, clean them, and refurbish them. Now, what I do for something as dirty and nasty as this is, let me see if I can get the lighting there. You just see how dirty that is. And it's all gunked up on the inside of there. So what I do for this is actually start just as it is. And I'm going to use engine degreaser, and we're going to soak it. We're going to get it clean, and then we're going to start taking things apart. And as we start taking things apart, we'll degrease it here, degrease it and clean it in this pan. And then we'll soak everything and 91% alcohol. And let me tell you, let it soak in this overnight, maybe 2 or 3 days, and everything will come out good as new. So once we're done degreasing, taking everything apart and cleaning it, then we'll put it all in here, fill it up with alcohol, wrap it in saran wrap, and that's how we'll let it sit and store until we're ready to ultimately put it back on our tiller. Now we're still waiting on some parts. I have to go through BCS Italy in order to get some of the internal transmission parts, and that's now proven to be a little bit of a challenge, but no big deal. Things are still moving forward. Some of the things that I have for this job, as you can see, are my precision plier set that I'm using. I've got a 10 millimeter socket there. Let's see, I've got a hex head sitting there, an H3. I've got Phillips head screwdrivers. I've got long needle nose pliers, and then a whole nother assortment set of screwdrivers. I also have a tamper-proof bit set here, and that'll allow me to get into some places that I need to get into here. So the first thing I'm going to do is degrease this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I start degreasing is I'm going to open everything up there, as you can see. And you do that just by simply opening your lever. There's nothing to that. I'm just going to make sure that everything's open. Alright, let's go get some degreaser. Okay, and I'm just using simple engine degreaser here. And, you know, just kind of word from the wise here. Be careful using this stuff. I use this stuff on a regular basis, and if I'm not careful, man, there's days where I just start seeing pink elephants and getting headaches and all kinds of stuff. So best thing to do is use it, and then probably just leave the area for a little bit, let it, you know, sit and do its magic, and then go from there. All right, well, here we go. All right, so I'm going to come and actually do that a few times over the course of the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm thinking. So I'm going to pause it here and get out of these fumes. All right, so after a few minutes, that's where we're at. All right, I'm going to soak it some more. I want to break all that grease and grime off. cool, huh? Looks like a cloud. Happy little cloud. Okay. Well, I'm going to pause it here while this soaks. Alright, well now it's time to get serious. Do some scrubbing here. See if I can set this up so that you guys can see. Maybe. I don't know if I'm going to be able to prop this up. So, yep. So I'm going to pause it here so I can continue to continue to scrub this. Gets a little hard one-handed. All right, and if you remember how grimy it was when we first started, this is where we are at now. It's good lighting for you. Okay, so still not too happy. So I'm going to soak her one more time and put it through one more scrub. All right. Okay, folks. Now that we're clean, I am going to transfer it to my secondary pan where I will rinse it with brake clean. I'm going to move this pan out of the way. And we're going to go here. I'm going to see if we can rinse it off now with brake clean. Okay. And again, I'm just using simple parts cleaner. Here we go. Whew. Alright. I'd say that's a nice clean carburetor now, compared to what we started off with. Get you some good lighting there. Okay, so now I'm going to set this down here. Clean. Brake clean dries itself, so pretty much dry now. And now we're going to start taking it apart. All right. What I'm going to do as I take it apart is I'm going to place the parts in here to be cleaned and degreased the best I can, and then we're going to transfer everything over here to sit and be stored for a little bit in alcohol, and then we'll start rebuilding. All right, so the next step in my process is to pull this bottom cup off. I'm just going to do that with a 12mm socket, and then I'll show you what we're going to be doing from there. All right, so this was basically, we'll say, glued together. You can see some of the junk I had to pull out. Wasn't too easy to get off. Had to twist it off, and you can even see in there. If you can get better lighting, you can even see inside there. So what's going to happen with this? Actually, this one is going to go back to stage 1. And we're going to go ahead and coat this in degreaser. I'm just going to let that soak there, while we now work on getting our float out. Just to keep it simple, this is what controls your gas flow. You know, it sits like this and fills up with gas, and this goes up and down, and that's what controls your gas flow. So I'm going to pause it from here, and we're going to continue moving forward. Okay, so I used a 1/16 size punch, so that way I could remove my float and the needle out of there. Okay, and that's not too dirty at all. So that's going to go into stage 2 here and be cleaned with brake clean. And then we'll go ahead and put that in stage 3, which will be the alcohol. So now let's go ahead and remove our pin. That's pretty nasty. That can go in there. So now we're going to have to dig this nasty rotten gasket out of here, and we're just going to use picks to do that with. Alright, I also want to show you something here. Our bolt is also a passageway for the jet, so as you can see, that's pretty nasty. That needs to be cleaned. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hit that with the degreaser first. Okay. In the meantime, let's clean up our float and our pin there. Okay, and now that we have all this clean, we have now moved it over here to our alcohol. Alright, and this is a good way to also tell if your float still works, because obviously, if it's floating, you're in good shape. That's what it's supposed to do. So now, we're going to move to our cup and our bolt here with its passageways. And we're going to get this little rubber seal off of here. And then go ahead and start scrubbing this out. And work on getting this cleaned out the best we can, so then we can transfer it to here. Now, I've also used my surgical tool here, pick, and automotive pick, whatever you want to call it, and I've scraped out the old gasket. So next, I will also start taking this apart, and we'll start getting this clean, and I'll show you how that's going to go. All right, so we've removed our diaphragm, and it's covered, and we've cleaned it. Now we're going to keep the diaphragm for reference so we can pick another one up. And we've got our cover in there soaking. And then, remember our bolt. So the alcohol is going to clean all of that off. Alright, it's going to go in there next. I've also used a 10 millimeter open end wrench. To loosen it up here. And again, anything like this, we're just going to have replaced with the kit. And yes, that too is going to go into our alcohol bath. Okay, this looks like something I'm going to need a couple hands for, so I'm going to pause it here, and I'll show you where we will go next. Alright, well, we got our spacers, and we got our old gaskets off. These gaskets are no good, so they'll be thrown in here. We'll go with a reference with those. And we're going to throw our spacers in our alcohol bath. Now I'm going to use a screwdriver. I'm going to get these out. I'm going to get them clean and soaked up as well. Alright, so at this point, we've kind of reevaluated this. And you can see in there, it's pretty nasty. These screws don't want to come out, and we don't want to break anything. So, what do? Well, first of all, you can kind of already see, I don't know if the camera can show it, but there's already kind of a yellowish brown tint in there. And that's just tar and varnish and crud, so to speak, coming off of there. So it is now time to just soak this. I'm just going to soak this for probably a few days. Just going to soak that. Actually, I'll go get some more alcohol and go ahead and fill this up. And then I'll wrap it with saran wrap. And we'll just let this soak. And it'll clean everything out. And after a few days, you'll see all this gunk in here. You'll see that in the bottom of your pan. You can already see some stuff coming off. So, all right, folks. Well, that's how I bring carburetors back to life for small equipment. You know, things like Briggs & Stratton engines, Acme engines, and stuff like that. Thank you, everybody, for supporting me. Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician. Like, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff if you felt like you learned something or if you just enjoyed it. Everybody have a good day.